joking. But yes, Liam Brierley is coming on stage to tell us about data and Eurovision, I think. So, welcome to stage, Liam.
Thank you very much. Yes, so I'm a research fellow at the University of Liverpool. I'm also a media ambassador for the Royal Statistical Society. Shall I give you a moment to bring that back up? There we go, yes. So as I say, I'm a media ambassador for the Royal Statistical Society. People think this means what I do is a ton of maths, and it's not. I do a little bit of maths, but I primarily use data to find out stuff about the world around us. And Eurovision generates loads of data every year. So what can we learn from it? Well, let's ask what factors help us win this trophy. Now, to do that, we've got to take account of the stuff that's out of our control, like who tends to vote for who. But when we do, a winning formula emerges. So pop, ballad, and dance electronic kind of songs, on average, score more than other types of music. So the bars here are the medians, and those songs are what we want, but that's probably most songs in Eurovision, so we need something to stand out. What about comedy? Well, comedy acts like Scooch and Dustin the Turkey statistically get worse scores, probably because humour is quite difficult to translate. Much better to introduce ambient elements like fire, fancy lighting, smoke, something everyone can enjoy. And just by including these, that pushes you 2 places up the leaderboard on average. Now, another important effect is traditional elements showing your country's culture. So that might be instruments, dances, activities, or traditional costume like Neil's wearing. That is, on average, going to push you 3 places further up the leaderboard. But the most important factor is the power of solo singers. So they are 15% more likely to score points than duets or groups, and that even extends to being better off without backing singers. So you want one of these kind of performers who can shine entirely on their own. Now, these aren't rules, these are general trends. After all, we did see the exact opposite of this winning formula in 2021 when Italy won with Måneskin and Zitti Buoni. And you know, Eurovision is nothing if not unpredictable. So I'm going to talk about lyrics. Now, the easiest way of looking at lyrics is by looking at most common words. And we can see that love and life have always been really common themes, mostly amour for the first 40 years, reflecting French-speaking countries starting Eurovision, but also rules that you had to sing in your national language. Researchers have also applied compressibility algorithms to see how repetitive Eurovision songs are. They are getting more repetitive, and even though I've got an example from Austria here, the UK is some of the most repetitive lyrics overall. So we know what the lyrics are, but what do they mean? Well, we can use mathematical language analysis called sentiment analysis to determine whether content is positive with a 1 or negative with a negative 1. And when we break up the lyrics, feed them into sentiment analysis, and calculate an average for each song, we can see Hatari with Hatred mun sigra comes out at a score of negative 0.1, so that translates to hatred will prevail. Laureen's Euphoria comes out at a score of 0.2. But when we look at sentiment overall, so these middle points are our best estimate of the sentiment, the lines show uncertainty, but we are quite certain there's been a distinct shift toward negativity post-2020. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean modern songs are downers. Maybe they're bolder, more likely to sing about big topics like oppression, discrimination, like Måneskin's Zitti Buoni, Shut Up and Behave. You know, they're not cheery words, but it's a song about empowerment. And I just want to touch on voting last. So as a reminder, the voting system, the public give a 1 to 8, a 10 and a 12. So do the juries for each country with no voting for your own country. But this leads to an interesting effect because when you call to vote, you probably only call once, maybe 2, 3 times. But each country's 5 jurors have to rank every song most favourite to least favourite. So if you imagine a song that's like Vanilla Ice Cream, you know, it's okay, everyone likes it a little bit, you probably wouldn't say it's your favourite. That kind of song is going to get nothing from the public vote, but a middling score from the jury vote, maybe explaining why when the jury votes come in, you think, that's not what I thought at all. And when we look at the scores from the last 6 years, we can see there's a lot going on here, but basically the further from the diagonal, the more disagreement between public and jury, and you notice the winners in yellow are almost always above that line, so they're stronger in the public than the jury vote. And in fact, there's only a couple of winners that haven't been anyone's favourite, like Jamala for Ukraine. But generally, the public top song is the winner, whether the jury agree, as for Salvador Sobral, or disagree, as for Måneskin's Ziti I Buoni. Now, I did warn you, I'm an academic, and so very little of this work was actually done by me. These analyses come from Alan Wise, Andrew Gastar, Alessandro Nai, and Anna Alyanaki. So huge thanks to them, and thank you for having me.